2nd of July 2023. This is another one of those what a fuck moments. And this is an ugly one. And it's about France. France is burning. And there's a lot of questions about that. But before I start, I have spoken many times about the immigrants in Europe. And before I start, I want to remind you about the Kalergi plan. That thing was published in 1927 already. And the basis of that plan is that, and I'm now also at a space in my head that, you know, like you talk about Jews and then they say, yeah, it's this Jews and that Jews and Zionists and whatever. But the fact of the matter is I'm going to stick to the word Jews. That Jew boy published that thing. And it states in there, first of all, they are of the opinion that they are the most intelligent people on this earth. Secondly, they see themselves as a special race. And they've got a major problem with white races, because the white races can resist them. The white races match them and beat them on intelligence. So they can't control the white races. So their first, in that Kalergi plan, their main aim is to bastardize all white people on this earth. They only want colored people, because they can control them better, they say. Okay, that is it. That's the outline of it. And if you look at the immigration process that went into Europe, you will see that I'm not going to say 99, let's call it 95% of the people going in from Arabia and from North Africa are young, virile men, soldiers. That's what they are. The Arabs warned the Europeans and said, you must not take those people in. They are fleeing from justice in our countries. You are going to build a problem for yourself. But did the Europeans listen? No. I can remember the photographs of young girls and standing in the bloody streets with placards, welcome immigrants, welcome, and all that cock. Fact of the matter is, those young men, one of their first missions, that immigrants are Zionist, WEF, globalist warriors. That's what they are. And look at what is happening in Europe to white women. They are being raped like hell. Same thing in England. And the scary part is that the law is protecting those immigrants. In Sweden, they reckon now they can't prosecute that immigrant that committed the rape, because he will be, if they deport him back to his country, he will be persecuted in his country for the rape in Sweden. What the fuck is that? So, you European people, don't be too calm, don't be too relaxed. Your governments feel fuck all for you. They're protecting the immigrants against you. The law is not protecting the women. And what is the story? They want to breed bastards. That's the plan. So, you Europeans should come and take a trip down to South Africa and come and see what the hell is happening here. And you will understand. You better be wake up. The difference is, the average South African white male is fairly fit and fairly aggressive and fairly willing to protect himself. And the blacks in general are careful because they know the whites will fight back. But you woke, gender confused fucknuts living there in Europe, you weaklings, you are prey for these marauding immigrants. And you can see now in France, they are destructive. They are destructive. 200,000 Germans will go into the street and protest, and not even a dustbin will be tipped over. 100 of these migrants go into the streets and burn your fucking buildings down. And there's not a car that is not fucked up in the street. You are in deep shit. There's no other word for it. Deep shit, neck deep. And any wave, and it's gone. So, where is your leadership now? That leadership that you installed, that leadership that fucked your economy up, under the bullshit story, they are protecting democracy in Ukraine. That's why they got to sanction Russia. Fuck that. They were listening to instructions from the globalist. And the main guitar players are sitting in a shithouse in Washington. And they hit the guitar, and the European Union and Ursula von der Crazy and her merry band of clowns there in Brussels dance to the tune. I've said it one day in a Skidmark. I think that Americans, they sit there in the shithouse and they say, listen, that fucking Europeans, they are so stupid. Can you believe it? We tell them to cut their gas and oil from Russia and they do it. I wonder how far will they go? Let's try something else. And then they come with a harebrained scheme. Germany, send tanks to Ukraine. They know. There's a more problem there in Ukraine. German tanks going onto Russian soil. That plan is not going to work. The Russians hate that. The Russians has got absolutely no tolerance for that. And we see it now. The Leopard 2 tanks, they burn like barbecue fires because the Russian soldiers are getting big bonuses for destroying German tanks. But let's come back to this immigrant problem. There are many cities in France where there's got large suburbs where French people are no longer the majority. Look at your soccer team. Is that a Frenchman? Is it Frenchmen playing in that soccer team? Take a good look at that team. The fact of the matter is, you have been invaded. And the idiocy of it is, the sad part is, you invited them in. I saw an article over the weekend where now the Greek Navy is in the shit because they tried to tow a boat full of migrants and the bloody boat flipped and I don't know how many hundred drowned. Now they want to cuck on top of the Navy about that. The first question should be, what the fuck is those migrants doing there? But let me tell you what they're doing there. You, nuclear scientist brains in Europe, you thought it was a fucking good plan to blow Libya to pieces, to blow Syria to pieces, to bomb Yemen to pieces, to bomb Iraq to pieces, bomb Syria to pieces. You thought it was a fucking clever plan. You thought it was a clever plan to go into Africa and steal their resources and impoverish the whole country, the whole population. You thought it was a clever plan. Now you can see the cleverness is broken because those people where you bombed their countries into fucking nothing, where must they live? You bombed their houses. Where must they go for medical service? You bombed their hospitals. Where must they go and work? Oh, forgot. You bombed all their fucking factories. So they come to your place. You've got houses, you've got hospitals, you've got factories. But the bad part is, those fuckers doesn't want to work because you have got a brilliant welfare system. They sit in their government-provided fancy house with all the modern amenities, and at the end of the month they walk down to the office and they hold their hand and you back in. You back in, you stupid idiots. You should have listened. There were people warning you, but you didn't listen. You thought by being woke, being liberal, being accommodating, being for diversity, you thought you were clever. Now you're sitting with a moor of a problem. The numbers that I've got, and I'm maybe totally off the mark, you've got about 18 million immigrants in Europe. 18 million. And those couples that is there, they get 8 and 10 and 12 children. And you, the woke, liberal, so sophisticated Europeans, you struggle to have one baby. Because you would rather have a nice new iPhone and a Porsche before you have a baby. Your race is in any case going to die out. So, what those immigrants are doing to you now there in France, maybe they're doing you a favor and saving you from the suffering of a slow die out. They're going to wipe you out like that. It's quick and it's over. No suffering. You brought this onto yourself. You French people, why is Macron still walking around freely? You European people, why are those, yeah, I nearly used a fucking dirty word, things sitting in Brussels fucking your lives up? But they're cushioned against all of this shit. Expensive gas, expensive food doesn't bother them because they've got huge fucking salaries from your taxes. But you allowed them all that power. Viktor Orban tried to warn you. And think back how you treated him. And now, the shit has hit the fan. No longer a proverb. It's now a fact. And I don't know how you're going to get that. Maybe, if there's another revolution in France, and you get a leader, at this point in time, the only one I see that's got the balls to tackle this shit is unfortunately without balls, but she's strong, Marine Le Pen. She might save your country. And you guys know, I'm not a big chicks fan in power positions. But you French are so fucking weak and stupid and useless that the best man for the job in your country is a woman. You've got big problems. And these riots are gonna spill over Belgium, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, everywhere. Sweden, Britain. Europe is going to burn. This was planned. While the social payments to these immigrants were on spot, on monthly, it was fine. And then all of a sudden, when a crazy and her merry band of clowns there in Brussels decided it's a good plan to fuck the European economy up on instruction from those warmongers sitting in the shithouse in Washington, without thinking about Europe, they just listened to the voices coming from Washington. I see, published articles, Germany's industries, they are tanking. And in the same article they tell you how the American industrial base is growing. You are fucking stupid. The Americans lined you up and you fell for it, and now they've stolen your industries. But you guys, ordinary citizens of the EU, you sat and watched the TV where the MSM was pumping your head full of shit, just like they did with the pestilence. And you believed it. You sit and you see how they're destroying your farms, and you do nothing. The farmers fight for themselves. This cabal has got big plans for you. And on top of it all, I'm going to end this now. Never forget, it is a well-published fact. 85% of us must go. Think about that. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing.